is by the front door, always have a snack, right? Always have a snack. And have, this is what's the most important thing, and it's so low tech. Are you done with this one? Okay. See what this says? Okay. Very important. Have a sign. When people come in, have it sitting there right by the front door, and when they walk in, just point at the sign. Okay? So, hello, point at the sign before you do anything else. Say, hey, please sign in and take a snack. Okay? Now, every one of you guys actually took a snack, didn't you? That was pretty good. But what that does is it gets people to actually sign in, because that's one of the hardest things, isn't it? Yeah. Breaking the ice, right? Okay, so did you see how that's kind of important? Does anybody do this when they do their open houses? Okay, good. Some people don't, some people do. Does it work for the people that do? Yes. Okay, perfect. So that's number one. All right, well, I kind of diverged there a little bit because I was kind of playing a little game there with the sign-in sheet and all that. But my name's Neil Brooks. I've been selling real estate now for about 18 years. And I built my business on doing open houses. I'm really pro open house, okay? How many people here have been in the business 5 years or less? Okay. How many have been in the business 3 years or less? How many are just brand new? Okay, so we got a lot of brand newbies. Well, not Johnny Walker. How many people have been here 18 years? Okay. Anybody more than 18? How many years, sir?
23.
23. Okay. And where do you sell most of the time? Where most of the place? West Valley? Okay. Me too. I go anywhere, actually. Wherever the money is, right? Will you go to Santan Valley?
No, I wouldn't.
Would you refer that to somebody?
I would, yes.
Okay, that's fine. If you want to, I'll take it. All right? So if you want to refer that, just let me know. But yeah, open houses are, when I got into the business 18 years ago, it was right after, I had been in another business. I was in the resort business for about 10 years. And I handled pharmaceutical companies and medical equipment companies and all that kind of stuff. When 9/11 happened, that job pretty much collapsed overnight. And as a matter of fact, my wife and I had just closed on our house like 2 weeks before. And my job at the resort was a salesperson, like I said, handling pharmaceutical companies, medical equipment companies. They were all located in New York and New Jersey. So, we closed on the house. We were all excited. And then like 2 weeks later, my job was gone. Over with. No money. Right? So, I decided to, after I felt sorry for myself for about a week or so, I thought, well, I gotta pay my bills. What am I gonna do? So I got my real estate license, and in fact, I got my real estate license a little earlier than that, and kind of worked my way. I was going to work my way into real estate, but then I was basically thrust into real estate. And so the reason I'm bringing this up is because a lot of real estate for a lot of different reasons. But mine was desperation, for one, and number two, it kind of reminded me a lot of what I was doing, because I was selling meeting space and sleeping rooms for big groups. So it wasn't a huge stretch, in my mind at least, to be selling homes, because they had rooms in them. I don't know. It was, when you're scared, you'll think about, you'll justify stuff in your mind. So anyways, I got into the real estate gig, but I had no money. So, you'll have different people that will get up and talk to you about, how do you market yourself? How can you make an impact on an area? There's some people that spend, $10,000 a month on advertising, right? To different areas, and they send stuff out. They buy Zillow, zip codes, things like that. Is anybody here involved in any of that, trying to do some of that kind of stuff? Okay, it works. It's not horrible. But how much do you have to spend a month?
$30.
Okay, and what are you doing it with?
Zillow.
Okay, so how do you, so for $30 a month on Zillow, that's pretty inexpensive. What are you doing on Zillow, if you don't mind sharing it with the...
That's fine. I'm a premier agent in an area I don't wanna work in, so all them referrals go out, and then because I'm a premier agent, I get to pre-market my properties in the areas that I do work in.
Right. So as a premier agent, you can have a certain number of what they call featured listings on Zillow, right? Okay. And that's not a bad idea. So he's not actually buying a zip code, right? Because the zip code.
I did buy a zip code.
Oh, you did buy a zip for $30 a month.
Yeah.
Where's it at?
Aho.
Aho. Okay. That's all right.
Where's Aho?
Ajo is on the way to Mexico. It's between here and Mexico. It's a quaint little town. It's on the other side of Casa. It's between Casa Grande and Mexico, basically, isn't it?
By 40 miles south of Gila Bend.
Yeah. Ajo means garlic.
Oh.
Doesn't it?
Yeah.
In Spanish?
Uh-huh.
Any Spanish speakers here? It's garlic, right?
Garlic.
I don't know if they raised garlic there or whatever, but there was a mine. There was a big mine there.
Copper mine.
Copper mine. So, anyways,
So the two referrals that I've been paid on, paid for 2 years worth of.
okay, so you got some referrals and you referred them out. That's not a bad way to do things. I think one of the most valuable things of being a premier agent on Zillow, which by the way, you guys, only costs like, I don't know, $30 a month, like you said, is that you can get a certain amount of your listings, when you get a listing, made a featured listing. And what that means is when your listing goes in there and you go in to do a listing appointment, you can tell your clients, I'm going to make you a featured listing, which is going to put you at the top of the search results, and only my information is going to appear next to your listing. That's pretty valuable. Okay? So when you're going in and doing a listing appointment, you can do that. But I'm diverging here a little bit. Sorry about that. So let me get back to open house. I can talk real estate forever, okay? Ask my wife. It drives her crazy every night I go home and talk real estate. She's just like so sick of it after all this time. But open houses are the most inexpensive way to get clients. And it's the most inexpensive way to build your brand and get people to know you, okay? So I'm a huge proponent of open houses because like I was saying back at the beginning, I had no money. I couldn't spend it. I couldn't even spend $30. I had no money. I could hardly even pay my own bills. So what I did is I just sat open houses every single weekend for the first 5 years that I was in the business. It was real simple. I'm not a brainiac. I'll be the first to admit that. I like people, and people can like me, and I can open up to people, and I can talk to people, but I'm not like a computer guy. I'm not a technical person. You know, I can't do spreadsheets. I can't, you know, all this kind of fancy stuff that some people do. I'm not like that. I'm a simple man. And so I always try and keep things as simple and streamlined and easy as possible. And it's worked out for me. So that's why I'm here to try and convey to you guys, because I really do like to help agents that have been in the business for a while, agents that are brand new into the business, to maybe give you guys some ideas of what works. So does anybody have any questions right now before we really jump into this about open houses? Does anybody have anything that's a burning question? No? Johnny? Yes.
You still do them every week?
Still do, well, every other week now. Yeah, I don't do them every weekend, but I do them about every other weekend still. And the reason is because the open house is fantastic for honing your chops, keeping them going, right? Because you're getting a pulse of what's going on out there and what people are thinking, right? Out in the marketplace. So anyway, so that's the start. Let me kind of jump into this. I took some notes. So let's talk about the 5 tips for a successful open house, okay? So most people that are doing open houses, and I've been guilty of this myself, you'll, right around Wednesday, like today, you'll start thinking, well, you know what, it's kind of a slow weekend. I think I'll go do an open house this weekend. We've all been guilty of that, right? So you just kind of show up to your open house, you throw your signs out, you bake some cookies, and you wait for all the buyers and sellers to come in, right? People do that? Wrong. You got to plan your open house at least a week in advance. Okay? You want to plan it a week in advance because you want to be smart about it. The open house is going to be your platform to get buyers and sellers, right? So let me give you a quick little statistic here. Do you realize that the National Association of Realtors did a report, 10 to 15% of buyers today still find their home from either a sign or an open house. Did you know that? That's old school, but that's a big number. So does anybody here know about what the average deals closed in Maricopa County each month are? Anybody? Take a guess. It's close. It's more like 9,000. But you're close. And if you guys go back year after year after year, it's all about the same. For about the last 10 years, we do anywhere between 6,000 and 9,000 deals a month. And Brooklyn back there at Title, she's with Lawyers Title. You guys have been busy, right? It's pretty busy, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay. So if you guys figure 10 to 15%, even take half of that out. Go 5%, right? That's 450 deals a month right here in the valley that are generated from, guess what? An open house. That sounds like a lot, doesn't it? People are always saying, oh, well, I didn't get anything out of my open house. They're a waste of time and all that kind of stuff. Reason being because they don't plan those open houses a week in advance and you don't do it the right way. And that's why I'm here today, okay? So, number one, teaming up with someone, okay? Now, I hate to say this, but don't ever team up with another real estate agent. Okay? Just don't do it. Why? Can somebody tell me why you don't want to team up ever with another real estate agent? Yes, ma'am, you tell me.
Well, you lose a buyer.
You could lose the buyer, that's right. Because why? What happens when you do get that buyer? Say the buyer comes in the door, they're a hot buyer, and the two of you are standing there. What happens?
50-50 shot.
50-50 shot? Or if somebody gets it, then the other person, gets part of it, and then everybody's pissed off in the end. Especially if it turns into a big buy, right? What if they got a listing? Oh gosh, we're going to split that too? It never works out. So don't ever team up. And it's important to team up with somebody for safety. Even with a big guy like you. People think it's just the women they get attacked in these open houses, and I don't want to scare all you guys, but we'll talk about safety later.
I've been attacked in a while, I'll say that.
All right, that's good, yeah. You're like the last guy I think most people would go after, holding an open house, But you never know. You never know.
You don't scare them.
Yeah.
Watch out.
Yeah, you never know, so you got to be careful. But don't ever team up with a real estate agent. Even if you're on a team, go do 2 separate ones. And then bring somebody like Brooklyn with you, right?
Yep,
Do you have people in your office that are willing to do that?
I do.
Okay.
Lenders as well.
And lenders. Lenders are probably a better source than title people.
Yes,
But I have seen title people that do that. But what title people can do is tell them, Brooklyn, what kinds of things can you provide them for their open house?
So, one of the great tips, especially it doesn't cost that much money, but like you said, plan a week in advance for your open house. We can pull phone numbers around your listing that you have the open house from, and you upload them into this system. The numbers are free. The system is called slybroadcast.com, and what you do is you record your own voicemail.
You can
make
come
it
up here.
however you want, and you say, hi, this is Neil Brooks, and
Right.
I'm having an open house on Saturday from 1 to 4. I want to invite all the neighbors exclusively for the first hour. Come by, we're going to have some champagne, hors d'oeuvres, snacks, whatever. And so then that makes the neighbors feel like, okay, wow, for the first hour, it's just us. We don't have to worry about anybody else. Exclusive. So that's your chance to get in with the neighbors, talk to them. You're not necessarily going to get a buyer, obviously, but you want more listings, right? So that's a good way to just that's one point of contact with them. Another way is you can actually pick up the phone and call each of them individually if you have the time. If you don't have the time, use the Sly Broadcast. because it will upload up to 500 phone numbers and it'll go into everybody's voicemail. It shoots right into there with your personalized voicemail. So if you have any questions about that, you can always ask me. We grab the phone numbers for you. So that's free. And it's $40 for 500 phone numbers for the system. So really inexpensive way to make contact with the neighbors and get in front of them. So
Thank you, Brooklyn.
That's
Did you
just
guys hear? Okay, so that's important, right? Can you imagine your neighbors, all the neighbors that are around that open house for $40, and that's cheap. And you know what? If you know a good lender, you might be able to split that cost with a lender that's sitting in the open house with you, right? And $20 a piece, right? 500 calls go out, and I can tell you, if you're working with a larger lender, most of them have baby lenders that would be more than happy to make those phone calls for you, inviting you to that, inviting people to that open house. So even if you're a newer agent, you got to make these relationships with lenders, okay? Because they can be your best asset, and you can say, hey, you got some baby lenders, and those people are used to being on the phone. Those lenders are phone people, okay? That's what they do all day long. So you can give them the list. Brooklyn gets the list goes to the baby lenders, and the baby lenders make the phone calls, right? And guess what? You can even tweak it up a little bit more and say, oh, and by the way, there's going to be a drawing for a $100 gift card. And maybe you can even get your baby lenders to split that with you, or sponsor part of that, and all that. Always remember, okay, when you're providing a platform for a lender or a title company, it's a lot easier for us to talk real estate than it is for a lender to talk that. Hey, could you sign in, please? Are you here for the thing? Yeah, go ahead. So you might sign in, and then take a thing. Yeah, I was just showing you that. You don't really have to sign in, actually. I'm just kidding. I was just showing people how it works. Did you see how he did it? Right, but did you see how he did it? He goes, okay, right? That's what's going to happen also when you're doing your open house and people come in, right? We're still back on the, I'm getting ahead of myself though. We're back on the pre-planning of the open house. So A, never bring another real estate agent with you ever, okay? Because it's just going to cut your commissions in half and you're going to wind up in a fight. Trust me, I've learned this from my own experience, okay? Number 2, get your allies. Get a title officer, get a lender, okay? Plan this thing out. It's got to be strategic. You don't want to just get there, okay? This is all a week in advance. Now, when Brooklyn and her team pull the list of phone numbers for you, let me see if this is going to turn on. I'm going to show you something else that you need to do as well, if I can get this to go on. There we go. Hopefully there's nothing on here that nobody's supposed to see.
Oh, jeez.
I know. I didn't look at this before I came in here. What's that? That's not even what I'm looking at. Oh, yeah, it is. Okay.
It's your vacation.
Dodge the bullet on that one. Okay. So, this right here is an example of an open house that we're going to be doing this weekend up in Anthem West. Does everybody know Anthem West? I'm going to show you a map here. So everybody's familiar with Anthem, right? No?
No.
Yeah.
Okay, Anthem is up in the North Valley. If you're on I-17 going up to like Flag, you know where the Carefree Highway is?
Mm-hmm.
Anthem is just 5 miles north of that.
Okay.
And it's south of New River, and it's north of I-17. Okay. Now this is Anthem West. You guys can see the Black Canyon Highway right over here. Okay. You got Anthem. If you go this way, you go into Anthem East, where all the stuff is, right? This is Anthem West, which actually has a New River address. Now, one of the funny things that's interesting is I didn't put New River for the city when I put it in the MLS because nobody will go show it, right? So you got to put Anthem. Sometimes you have to be a little bit, just be careful though. You're supposed to put accurate information in the MLS. But anyways, so this is a list of homes that all purchased after the crash. This is the listing itself right here. actually wait, it's right around here, okay? And this are all the homes that have been, that have a lot of equity in their homes and have been in their homes 8 years or more, right? They bought after the crash. So these are people that have a high propensity to be a better client, right? A better target potentially, right? Than somebody that just bought their house 2 months ago, right? So the phone number thing is great just for an overall, but this is targeting right here. So what you're going to do is on the Saturday before your open house, or maybe the Thursday or the Friday, a couple of days before, you're going to go and visit each one of these homes. And you're going to put a card on there, on their door or whatever. I don't encourage people to go knock on people's doors anymore. Nobody answers anyways. So what you're going to be doing is putting a nice handwritten card. You know, hey, I understand that, you know, I know you've been in the market or you've been in this, lived in this neighborhood for quite some time. I would love to invite you to my open house. I have a special, you know, open house going on from 1 to 4. Sometimes they can't make the time. So I used to try and make it like, hey, come here an hour before everybody else. Sometimes that works, sometimes it doesn't. But I would love to get your feedback. Okay, so it's not threatening like, hey, I want to sell your house. You know, it's gonna be the slow approach. You're gonna say in your nice little card, really simple, hey, I'd love to invite you to come to my open house so I can get feedback from you as a long-term neighbor, right? About my house. And by the way, I'm, you know, putting everybody's name into a drawing for $50, for a $50 gift card, okay? You'd be surprised how many people will come out for that, okay? So, can you guys see where I'm going with this? Okay? You really got to get this thing planned out, okay? Also, signage is super, super important, and I see this all the time. Does anybody here go a week before and put a name rider on the for sale sign saying, open this Sunday? Okay? If you are, great. If you're not, you're missing a huge opportunity. Right? You want to put an open house Sunday sign. You can even get those, you know, generic open house Sunday signs at places like Fast Signs, which is on Bell Road. It's real. I think it's called Realty Signs. You know, the kind that are made out of kind of like styrofoam, not styrofoam, but they're plastic, and you kind of stick them in their cheapy signs. You can get those too and say open Sunday and just have arrows going in. Now, some of those might get stolen, some of those might get knocked down. But for sure, a name rider and some of those other ones, you want to do everything you can to bring people in. You're like a car dealership, right? You want to bring as many people as you can in. Another important thing to do is to link up with the competing homes in the area, right? Competing homes in the area, and call those agents and say, hey, what do you think about doing an open house next weekend from 1 to 4? See how many of them you can get to do that. Now that might be counterintuitive because you could be saying to yourself, well, why would I want to show my competition off, right? But listen guys, years and years and years and years and years it's been proven. Why do the car dealerships put all of their dealerships next door to each other, right? Because it brings more traffic in for everybody. Same idea. So if you can link up, hey, how's it going, man? Long time no see you. So if you can link up with other agents that have listings in that area, and all of a sudden you guys got signs everywhere, right? You taking off?
I have to.
All right, see you later, man.
You're gonna call me, right?
Yeah, you call me, I'll call you. These guys are HomeSmart agents. I was with HomeSmart for 8 years. I came here about 6 months ago. So it's good to link up with the other agents, right? Because then all of a sudden now you guys got signs everywhere. And you're bringing all kinds of people in. So very important. This is all pre-planning stuff. Okay? Any questions yet? Come on, I'm doing all the talking. Somebody's got to have a question. Yes, sir.
So you're going to tell me, so for a newer agent, I'm supposed to compete with someone that's been in business for a long time?
Absolutely.
Right. I will tell you That's always the fear that people have. And it is a valid fear because, you know, we were all new at one time. And the question is, who wants to be the heart surgeon's first patient? Right? Right? Nobody, right? You're like, oh, I don't know, I'd rather see somebody that... And this is people's most valuable asset, right? So it's intimidating when you get, like, if I was sitting next door to you, I might intimidate you a little, right? Maybe, okay. But you can't let it. You got to turn the negatives into a positive. Because I'll tell you what happens. The established agents are lazy.
Yep.
They are lazy. They sit back on their laurels, right? I don't know if anybody here is into politics, but there was a Democratic congressman in New York who has been elected year after year after year after year after year for the last 25 years. And guess what? He just got unseated by a very young Latina woman who kicked his butt. And the reason is because she hustled. She hustled. And that's what you got to do when you're a new agent. You got to hustle, hustle, hustle. And you got to show that that you're going to be working harder than these other guys. And it's so true because I was in the same spot. You know, I was going up against people who had been in the business forever. I'm like, God, why would anybody want to work with me? Why would I want to do an open house with all these other people and these guys are here and there? What they're going to do is they're going to see you on Saturday going door to door, putting cards on the things, you know, inviting people to come to your open house. You'd be surprised on Saturdays. That's how I got my very first listing. Let's see if is that going to light up? There we go. So what I did, like in a neighborhood like this, on the Saturday, I'd go door to door, I'd drop off the stuff, and when you're doing it on a Saturday, a lot of times people are out front and all that kind of stuff. My first listing I got in the business because I was going to be doing the open house, and I had the cards that I put together that I was going around to the neighborhood. Oh, and by the way, door hangers work great too. You can just put door hangers on everybody's. You know, go hit, 25 houses on each side of the listing. But so a guy was out washing his car. And I walked up to him and I introduced myself. I said, hey, I'm Neil Brooks. I'm selling your neighbor's house, or I'm doing an open house for your neighbor's house. They don't know if you're the listing agent or not. They really don't. People don't really pay attention to that much. And I'm going to be holding it open Sunday, and I'd love to have you come so I get some feedback. What do you think? Gave the guy a thing, and he showed up, started talking to me. And he was my first listing. And the reason I got it is because he said, you were working hard. You never see real estate agents out there walking the streets. We got the worst reputation out there, you guys. If you don't know it already, we're somewhere down here below, I don't know, murderers and child molesters. Okay, we're down here somewhere. People hate real estate agents because real estate agents, everybody's opinion of a real estate agent is you stick a sign out in front of the house, you do a couple things, and you make big money, right? So when you're out there hustling, and you're working hard, and they're seeing you walking up and down the streets, they're seeing you doing open houses and all that kind of stuff, if I'm selling my house, I'm going to list somebody like that.
Yeah.
And, yeah.
Can I add something real quick?
Yeah, go ahead.
How many agents in here are relatively new? I know, Joanne.
Yeah.
Let me throw something out to you. There's 3 things that you can do at an open house that makes you different than him and me and this gentleman that's been doing it for years. Is fear. Don't have any fear. If you knock on somebody's door, who cares if they want to talk to you or not?
Right.
They don't want to talk to you, so what? Go to the next house. The other one is knowledge. If you know the contract, I can tell you right now, and Neil will back me up on this, real estate agents are morons. Knowledge is power. If you don't know that contract, if you know what it says in the contract, I don't care if you've been in the business 2 weeks or 20 years. When somebody walks in and you express that knowledge of the contract, you win right off the bat. And the other thing is, you're willing to go out and work for it. Most agents, and I'm not picking on you, but you've been in the business a long time. Neil and I both, we go sit open houses. Do I need to?
No, not really. You don't have to.
Is that how you get business? You're damn right it is. So most agents, you're telling, you said something about new agents. Forget about new agents.
Yeah.
Take all that and throw it out the window. Know what the contract says. Know the area, like Neil was saying. Know Wanna know a great thing to have at your open house that nobody does? Find out where the closest pet hospital is. That's important,
Yeah.
cause people like their dogs, they like their pets.
And when you
Say,
think
hey, just so you know.
75, yeah, like 75, I think it's 75% of people have dogs
Yes.
out there.
Let them know, hey, the closest animal hospital is right up here on Bell Road and 7th Street. Then people will be like, wow, this guy knows this area. That's valuable information. So don't let that new thing get in your way.
Yeah.
Really, I wouldn't.
I mean,
Sorry,
it
Neil, I didn't mean.
doesn't-
I'm glad you asked that.
It doesn't, but I'm just like, I'm not gonna call another agent and be like, hey, let's do another open house.
No, you should. You should. You should say, hey, we're thinking of doing an open house. Is this something you'd be interested in?
No, he's talking about other listings in the area, because the more people have an open houses, the more traffic.
Right,
Yeah.
I'm talking about the other listings.
That's-
Right, and so that we get, if you got like 5 or 6 listings in one neighborhood, all holding open at the same time, you're gonna draw more business in for everybody, okay? So, and you're gonna find most agents will say, nah, I don't wanna do it. I'd rather sit on my ass and complain about the market. That's what they wanna do. They don't wanna get up on the weekend and do open houses, right? They're lazy. So we don't wanna say bad things about other agents, but I
I
gotta
do.
tell you, Johnny Walker's right about most of them, okay? The average agent in Maricopa County, first of all, does anybody know how many active real estate licenses there are in Maricopa County right now? It's close, right? How many?
49,000.
More.
50,000.
More. More.
70.
83,000 active real estate licenses in Maricopa County. We're like locusts. So you guys know that every time you talk to somebody, they know 5 agents already, right? So, but guess what? What does the average agent do per year? How many deals?
2.
That's right. Who said that? Yep, 2 deals a year
Or less.
is what the average agent does, or less. So you got to realize that most people are part-timers and they're not going to be working as hard as you are, okay? And I have found, believe it or not, you know, a lot of these agents, you'll see an agent will have $1 million listing and all that kind of stuff. A lot of times that agent's got that $1 million listing because they live in the neighborhood and they know everybody and they just got their license. And when I was first in the business, I was like, oh my God, you know, this person must have a lot going on. They got this $1 million listing and all this. They don't know anything. A lot of it's a pure relationship. So don't ever, new agents, don't ever get intimidated. Don't ever let the old guard intimidate you because you can catch them just like that congressman had been in his district for 20-something years. He didn't keep his eye on the ball, and the young one came in and took it all away from him just like that. And the same thing can happen in real estate. We're still on the pre-planning phase right here that we're talking about, you guys. We're not even into the open house yet. How much time do we have left?
1 minute.
As much as.
20 minutes.
And it's going to be too long.
25 minutes.
Okay. So, Johnny had brought up a point about knowing the neighborhood. So it's super simple, you guys, to take a day when you're handing out your things. Here we go again. I know that's my one fancy thing up on the screen. So, when you're out and you're taking your day to hand all these out, and by the way, look sharp. Don't be looking, you know, scraggly when you go out to hand these cards out because you just never know who you're going to bump into. Okay? So you want to look sharp. Okay? Don't put your old sweats on. Don't look like you're getting ready to do some yard work or something like that. Okay? Then go look at the neighborhood. Go drive around. Look at the grocery stores. Find out where the schools are. That's easy. This is easy to do. Right? So go into the MLS. Find out what school goes to. Go drive by the school. Find out what the ratings are in the school. Find out where the animal hospital is. Find out where the regular hospital is. Right? Find out where daycares are. All these things. Grocery stores. Okay? If you're in a place that's somewhat remote, you know, you're going to say, oh yeah, the grocery store's only 8 miles that way, right? Or it's a 10-minute drive. Because that's what people are going to think. You're up in North Scottsdale in a gated community somewhere. People are like, oh my God, this is way out in the middle of nowhere. They don't realize that there's a store 3 miles over on Scottsdale Road. They just can't see it because everything's single story up in North Scottsdale, right? Somebody from the Midwest might come into your open house and go, oh wow, you know, this is really remote. I don't know about this area, right? But you'll be able to have all of that information, okay? So do that drive-by. So this is all pre-planned open house stuff that you're going to do. And there's a lot more to do. When you just open your mind, there's a lot more things you can do when you think about it. Okay? So now we're going to get to the open house part itself. Number one, I want you guys to be safe.
Ah, yes.
Okay? That's the number one thing that freaks everybody out, because let's face it, real estate agents, first of all, nobody likes us. But number two, you know, there's people out there that see us as a target, right? The most vulnerable time during your open house is when you go open the lockbox, or when you lock the lockbox. Those are the two most vulnerable times. So just be aware of what you're doing, okay? Because when you're putting the open house signs out, and by the way, let me back up a little bit. When you're doing the open house signs, make sure that the house that you pick has only 3, maybe 4 turns to get to the house, okay? So you're putting your open house signs out, right? Kind of be aware of the cars that are driving by, all this kind of stuff. If you see the car drive by twice, you know, especially if it's a lady putting things out. I'm kind of more, you know, guys can get attacked too, but, you know, the ladies are probably a little bit more vulnerable. So it would be a good idea to, you know, kind of be situational awareness, right? When you put the signs out, just kind of look around you. And then when you go to get to the house, you know, and you're going to go get that lockbox open, don't take a bunch of stuff in your hands and go up to the lockbox and put it down. We're all, you know, and then just be, and then the lockboxes a lot of times are behind a bush or something like that where they're not well seen from the street. So when you get out of your car, you're going to look around, make sure, you know, there's not a lot of people there, and then don't have your back to the street or anything when you're getting that lockbox, okay? You want to try and kind of get the lockbox and kind of, you know what I mean, look around, right? I don't want you guys to be scared because it's very rare when this happens, but you just got to be smart about it. Go ahead.
I always go to the house first.
Yeah.
Open it up, get the key out of the lockbox before you ever put your signs up. Because what if you put all your signs up and all of a sudden the AC's not working?
That's true.
So I go to the house first, open it up, then go put your signs up.
Good
Make it
point.
a little-
Good point. Then all your stuff is there.
Can you pick up the idea?
What's that?
I'm planning to get a self-defense class.
Planning to get what now?
Self-defense class, but somebody told me, no, you can go, you can have a gun. I never have a gun.
Yeah,
That I
I
can
do.
go and get classes, and I'm thinking that I'm gonna do all this.
Yeah.
Can I take that down with me?
Oh, absolutely.
To have a gun?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
You can bring gun with you?
I know of one agent in this room right now that packs heat everywhere he goes. And I'm sure there's more. But yeah, get a taser,
I have a
have
taser
spray.
and the spray.
Yeah,
Somebody told me, just go and get a shooting class and get a,
Right.
you know, and
They got those special purses, man. You can carry heat, man.
That's what I'm thinking. How can I
Pack it.
like, I'm thinking like, what am I gonna put the gun? I don't wanna.
Time out. You gotta ask
Maybe
yourself
back
a
here,
question
right?
first. Are you willing to shoot somebody?
Oh, but
Hell yeah.
I'm gonna be prepared. I don't know.
You want to be prepared.
I'm gonna be
And
a self-defense. The first thing I'm gonna use myself. I mean, but.
yeah, just stay with the easiest thing to do is, okay, when somebody walks in the door, okay, so we're moving kind of into the open house thing, and the security thing is very important. So just be situationally aware of what's good. This will take care of 99.9% of it. Just watch who's coming in, right? Get the key, right? Get your stuff. Leave your purse, laptop, stuff like that in your trunk locked.
Oh,
Don't bring them in the house. Okay? Those are the easiest things to steal. So don't do that. When you get into the house, you know, make sure that you're having everybody sign in, right? And that was kind of like my little exercise, but I got here late. But you want to have everybody sign in, right? And the hardest thing is that breaking the ice when they first come in the door, isn't it? They walk in and you kind of feel awkward. And you go, well, hi, how are you? You know, I'm Neil. And they're like, okay, you know. But what you got to do is when they come in, you point at the sign, you say, hey, please sign in and take a snack first. Okay? They almost 99.9% do it. Then you have your information ready for them. Okay? You're going to have the MLS. Right now, you're just going to give them the flyer that you have made. Now, Brooklyn and her crew, could probably, if you're nice to her and you give her some business, she might make flyers for you. Is that
Maybe.
true?
Yes.
Okay.
do that.
And the flyers, you're going to have two things. You're going to have the flyers, and you're going to have the MLS printout, and then you're going to have some backup stuff, which I'll tell you a little bit about in a while. This is the backup stuff, and I'll show you what I do. So the person comes in the door, and the first thing you're going to do is you're going to have them sign in, and then you're going to, while they're signing in, you're going to take the flyer, and you're going to go over and you're going to shake their hand, and you're going to introduce them. You know, introduce yourself. Hi, I'm Neil. How are you today? You know, and they're going to go, oh, fine. Now this is when you're going to do a search from the waist up. You're going to look at them at the waist up, and you're going to see if there's anything creepy or weird about them that gives you an off feeling, right? Now, ladies have, I think, I know this is going to sound else, I don't know how this is going to sound, but I think ladies are more intuitive
Yes.
than guys are when it comes to creepers. Okay? I really do. Guys are kind of like, "Ugh," right? I think women are more, so what you're going to do is you're going to do that visual kind of from the waist up, see if there's anything weird going on, all this kind of stuff. Okay? So you introduce yourself to them. You don't have to shake their hand. If, you know, some people don't like to have their hand shaked. So you don't necessarily have to. I kind of do it, but whatever you're comfortable with. Then you hand them the flyer. Okay? And you're going to say, are you a buyer? Are you a seller? Or are you a neighbor? Or maybe you're a renter. Right? Because you want to get right away, when they come in the door, you want to know what the potential is with this client. Okay? People hate nosy neighbors, but let me tell you, I love them. Because nosy neighbors are listing opportunities. And especially if you've done your homework and, oh, it's gone again, and gone around to those houses that have been in, you know, that sold, you know, and have a lot of equity, it could be one of them that came in the door, okay? Second question you're going to ask them is, what brought you in here? Was it my signs? Was it my cards? Because you want to start tracking what's going to be bringing your stuff in so you know what's more effective and what's not effective, okay? You'll see by and large it's the directional arrow signs that bring people in, okay? But more and more, people are coming in from online advertising, and you'll see in here that one of the things you're going to want to do is your online advertising for your open house. That means you can put it on Zillow for free, you can put it on Realtor.com for free, you can put it on the MLS, right? And these syndicate to hundreds and hundreds of other websites, okay? So you want to put those in there. Especially the 30 and unders are coming in primarily from that. They're getting on their smartphones and they're finding what open houses are going on the weekend, okay? So it's really important that you do that. Take the flyers, if there's flyers in the flyer box out front, take them out, right? You don't want people taking the flyers and not coming in, okay? So, when you find out what the client is, if they're a buyer or a seller, right? You're going to have two different kind of tactics. But what remains the same for all of them is that they're going to come in, you're going to say you buyer, seller, renter, and then you're going to give them the flyer, and you're going to say to them, hey, go ahead and go check the house out, go wander around. I'll answer any questions you have afterwards. Okay? So, now you've broken the ice a little bit, but you're not in that awkward stage because you haven't jumped over that line where it's kind of where you start questioning them before they come in, you know, they even get to see the house. How many people have felt that weirdness, right? Okay, yeah, you kind of feel that. It's kind of awkward. And then they get irritated, right? You want to make a connection with these people. That's the whole thing, is you want to try and make a connection, okay? So you let them go throughout the house, and then you take the MLS printout, okay, that's got the details this time. And then you walk out into the backyard, okay, while they're in the house. Because you're going to want to be, why do you go in the backyard? Well, because guess what? They have to go out into the backyard eventually, right? Or they're going to look out the window, right? So you're not following them around. Nobody likes to be followed around through an open house. Nobody likes to be followed around when you're clothes shopping, right? It's the same thing. So don't follow them around. Let them go wander the house. And especially if it's a 2-story house, and they say, hey, can you come up here? I got a question about something. Right, what are you going to do?
She's like, I'm not.
Right? You're going to say, oh, I'd love to, but you know what? I sprained my ankle last week, and I can't get up the stairs. I'm so sorry. But I can answer any questions you have. That way they're not going to feel uncomfortable, and that way, and you're not going to get trapped upstairs. Okay? Never go into a room with them behind you, right? So just let them wander through the house, and then you step out in the backyard. So then what they're going to do is they're going to go through the house and all this kind of stuff, and then they're going to come out into the backyard, and at that point, you're going to give them the other printout that's got all the details. So now you're approaching them again, but it's in a comfortable way, because it seems very natural. You know, like you just stepped outside, they just happen to walk in, you know, walk out of the backyard, and you go, oh, hey, here's the printout that's got all the more important stuff. And then you kind of run down, you can say, yeah, it's got the schools, it's got the taxes, and you can start throwing some of that stuff out just to kind of get them to talk. So you could say something like, oh yeah, the HOA here is blah, blah, blah per month, and it covers A, B, C, and D. And the school, by the way, is right over there. So are you guys, you said that you're renting. When's your lease expire? You know? And at this point, they're comfortable with you, and they might just start saying stuff, right? They're going to start opening up to you, and they really do. You know, you start saying just kind of things like, okay, so you're a renter, when is your lease agreement up? And they might say, oh, in 3 months, right? And then you say this, and I want you guys to try and, write this one down, because this is a really important one. Because 99% of the people will say, are you working with an agent? Right? People say it that way. Are you working with a realtor? Totally the wrong way to say it. Because what are they going to say? What's so easy to say? Yep, sure am. Yep, I definitely am, 100%. So what you do is, you're kind of asking these little questions. You're not talking too fast. You're being relaxed. You got to mirror them, right? Whatever they are, so they feel comfortable. And then you say, so, who are you working with right now? Who's your real estate agent? Right? They can't think quick enough. Right? They can't come up with an answer quick enough. So they go, well, nobody. Right? So that will drastically increase your deal. But then you don't want to jump on them right away, right? You want to be gentle, right? We want to be gentle. So you just go, oh, okay, well, that's good. Well, so your lease is up. I've got a book I'd like to give you when you leave that talks all about the home buying process, right? Now, you guys just did a class on branding, right? Well, this is my branding right here. So you guys can kind of see all my branding kind of matches. And this is a home buyer guide that I had put together that basically, if you guys want to pass it around, that shows all the different steps in the buying process, okay? So you're not being pushy to these people, but you're showing that you've got branding. You're showing that, and you can do this for fairly inexpensive. You got branding, and that you're not being pushy, and that you're trying to be a resource for them, And you want to tell them right off, and you kind of joke around about it. I go, hey, I promise not to stalk you. I won't stalk you. I'm not that kind of a realtor. And I'm not. Well, I am, but I just tell them that. So it kind of gets them off guard. You want to take them off guard, right? That's what you want to do. And so then you give them this, and then you just start talking about the home buying process and what's going on, and you would be amazed what people will tell you, you guys. It's the hardest part is just breaking that ice at the very beginning, and you do that by having them sign in, right? You get their information, you let them wander through the house, they come into the backyard, you give them a little bit more information, then you give them a buyer handbook, right? It works out good. It's going to increase your numbers dramatically. Dramatically. Any questions, John? No?
I have a question.
Yes.
Can I bring someone with me, like somebody who can help me,
Husband.
like a husband or
Mhm.
A
somebody
sidekick?
like yeah.
Yeah.
Because I believe somebody told me that if they don't have a real estate license, they can come with me.
Oh yeah, they
to
can.
the house.
Absolutely 100% they can.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, your husband's not going to want to sit open houses with you on Sundays,
No.
though.
My husband does.
What's that?
My husband does every weekend.
Does he? That's nice.
Saturday and Sunday.
Well, what you should do is get a lender to do it instead, because then the lender can help
But
pay for
actually,
stuff.
lenders, they just want to stay there for an hour or so, or title people.
You
No
need a
more
different
than
lender.
1 or 2 hours.
You need to get a new lender.
And my husband puts the signs
Get a different lender.
Yeah.
Get a different lender.
Yeah,
There's
and
thousands.
now-
They're like real estate agents. There's millions of them. Go find a young, hungry
Well, I
lender.
believe if you make when you make money, it's like if your assistant, you pay them and they and like you have to have an assistant.
That's right.
I mean, it's tax deduction. Why you don't get an assistant? I mean, I'm thinking like that.
That's right. That's right. So I would suggest, I mean, you can bring a family member, but I'm just saying, if you got a lender, they can qualify the people on the spot.
I agree. That would be great.
And, but you
like-
got to tell them, you got to stay the 4 hours. You can't just come here for 2.
Yeah.
We're in it for the long run. And you can even, if it's a nice lender, they might even put the signs out and pick them up for you. And they might bring the food. Because guess what? You're providing a platform for that lender that they can't have, that they're not going to have. And these lenders right now, and by the way, everybody, they need purchase money. Purchase money means when somebody buys a new home, because these lenders have been surviving on refis because the interest rates keep going down. So I'm going to tell you something. The lenders are going to start being much more open to talking to you about stuff and doing stuff, and they need to get their butts out in open houses to get clients, because they're going up against places like what is that one, Quicken, and all these online lenders, right? So, anyways, all right. So you direct them. You know, you give them that, and you want to set yourself up as a pro, right? So that's number one. If it turns out that this person is a neighbor, right, you're going to switch into the neighborhood mode right away. You're a listing. This is a listing prospect, right? So they come out in the backyard. Oh yeah, we're a neighbor, and we're just kind of checking everything out. They always feel kind of embarrassed when they come in because they feel like they're being, you know, looking in their neighbor's house and all that kind of stuff. But they're great. Make them feel comfortable about coming in, right? And then you can talk to them about the stats of the neighborhood, because hopefully you've done your homework on the neighborhood, and you know the neighborhood, you know the days on market, you know how many active listings there are, you know what the pendings are, you know what the average sales price is. And so when you're talking to the neighbor, you don't go, oh, are you thinking of selling your house? No, 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 no. Right? We got to be gentle, right? You don't want to go in and pounce. So you're just going to be cool about it. And you're going to say, oh, well, you know, this is what's going on in the neighborhood, and yada, yada, yada. And they may be thinking, oh, yeah, homes are selling so fast. Why do I need you? Right? Why would I want to pay you all this when these homes are selling so fast? So you have to kind of put in your verbiage with these neighbors. How we're at the highest point in history of cancellations, right? Homes falling out of escrow because of appraisal, homes falling out of escrow because of inspection, right? And all this kind of stuff. What we don't do as real estate agents is tell people all the horrible things that happen after they get a contract on their house, right? So you have a neighbor that's in there who's thinking to themselves, you know, I'll just put a for sale by owner sign out. Look how fast these are selling. Or, you know, I'm going to go sell my house to Open Door. Or I'm going to go sell it to OfferPad or something like, why should I deal with all this kind of stuff? You got to tell them all the horrible things that can happen and give them your home selling guide, right? Got a home selling guide put together. It's very much like the home buying guide with a little bit of changes to it. Okay? So these are important things that you give these people. Now all of a sudden, you're not just some person sitting in there, right? You've gone out on Saturday, you've put stuff out, you've plastered the neighborhood with, you know, door hangers, right? Inviting people to your open house. You have a little incentive for people to come because you want to get the volume of people coming through, right? And it's important. By the way, here's the, you can also give this to the buyer if they're thinking, or the seller. Sometimes you'd be surprised. They're saying, you know, we have been thinking of selling our house, okay? Then I give them one of these. my high performance listing system. And I throw this out to them. These are things that you guys can make fairly easily. It just takes a lot. In fact, while you're sitting in your open house, you can work on these, right? Between people, you can work on putting these things together and making them nice. But yeah, when the neighbor comes in, you can schedule a time, maybe after your open house, to go just take a peek. You know, and like I said, you got to be gentle, gentle, gentle. So you just go in and say, well, you know, if you'd like, I'll come over and just take a quick peek. I'll be in and out in 5 minutes. I can give you an idea what your house is worth. Oh, no, I could just go on Zillow and find out what my house is worth. Well, yeah, you can do that, but it might not be as accurate. I'd be happy to come by if you want. Okay? Now, are you going to nail every single person that comes in the door with this stuff? No. Are you going to get 1 out of 10? No. Are you going to get 1 out of 20? Yes. You probably will get 1 out of 20 if you're doing it right. Okay? Which means that you're going to have to pick an open house where you're going to get much more activity. How much more time do I have? Like 3 minutes? Yeah. Okay.
2 minutes.
I was pretty close, wasn't I? So, so I'm going to try and summarize here really quickly that it's so important to pick the right house. Number one, do not pick a house in a gated community. It's too difficult. Okay? What you want is volume. Okay? Now, if you talk to any lender, 90% of the loans being written right now are between $250,000 to $350,000. Okay? So those are the homes that you want to sit. Okay? Why go sit $1 million listing where 1/10 of 1/1,000,000th of 1% of the people can afford to buy that house? Right? Everybody thinks, oh yeah, I want to be an exclusive agent. Guess what? You won't make any money in the exclusive market. Okay? You just won't. It's a waste of time. It's sexy, but the guys that are really making the money are the ones that sell to the masses, not to the classes. So you guys got to get out there and sell those $250,000 to $300,000 houses. You sell 5 of those a month. I mean, come on, you're gonna make big money, right? And those are easy. Those sell like that.
5 of them a month is your $1 million listing.
There you go. That's exactly right. Go ahead.
Do you recommend open houses only on the weekends or that's the
I-
nobody's gonna come during.
Good
the
question.
work
He's,
day.
yeah, he said, when do you want to do the open houses? Generally 1 to 4 on Sunday.
Okay.
But if you are in, let's say, a retirement 55 plus community, that could be different. If you're in North Scottsdale in the spring, fall and spring, that could be different for the snowbirds. Go ahead.
How's your open houses doing in the summertime?
You know what? That's a really great question. That is, and this goes counter to what everybody says. Open houses in the summertime, that's the best time to do an open house. In the summertime. Guess why?
People are
No one
moving.
else is doing it, but
That's right, nobody else is doing it, people are moving.
Nobody goes out to the exit when it's 110.
Boom, he's got it. Right there. Who is going to go out and look at open houses when it's 110 or 115? A serious freaking buyer. Right? That's somebody that needs a house. Guess what? That's somebody that needs a house. And nobody else is doing the open house during the summertime because why? Oh, it's hot. Nobody's going to come out. You're right. You're going to have less people, but guess what? Every single one of those people that's coming in is a serious person, right? For the most part. That's a good question. I'm glad you brought that up. Thank you.
Question.
Yes.
Finding it more and more difficult to find brokerages that are willing to offer open houses and allow outside agents to hold open houses.
Right. They will not. Yeah, you always, that's a really great point. His point was, what about doing an open house for another brokerage? One of the good things about being with My Home Group is that we've got about 2,000 agents now, and we've got lots of listings out there. So you have to do a listing with another My Home Group listing. So call these guys, that's what I'm saying, go ahead of time. You guys want to plan this out so that, you know, you're going to find one that's, what you want to find, hopefully, is a vacant house that looks really nice, that's under $300,000, That's 3 turns to get to the house. Okay? That is the recipe for lots of activity. Okay?
Turns or left, right?
Yes, sir.
The problem that I'm finding is basically what I found out a while ago is that you gotta look at your inventory.
Right.
And if you're working in an area and it's not your listing, let's just say, you're holding it open anywhere 250, 350, those are hot homes. But it's hard to find anything under 300, even under 350. So basically, the interesting thing is that I find when you're doing these open houses, the people that you're gonna get, not saying that what you're saying is incorrect, I'm just saying I'm finding the people that you end up getting, if you're holding a $300,000 home, they can afford $200.
Right.
If you're holding a $400,000 home, they can afford $300.
Mm-hmm.
I find it, if you can get into 5 and 6, you probably find 300, 400, 700.
Right.
Okay, so there's only, now if there was more inventory, it's a lot easier. You know, I work Central Phoenix, and, you know, you can't, it's hard to find anything like that.
Oh yeah, Central Phoenix has gone up in value more than any place else in the
So
valley.
there's a lot of different ways of looking, you know, that. But
That's true.
I used to do those smaller homes and stuff, and it, you know, it worked pretty well.
Yeah.
You get real people, but I'm finding everybody's eyes are bigger than their wallet.
Right.
And I tend to find that. And if they're great, you can find great clients, but you're gonna be battling for that other home with a bunch of agents for 200,000 if it comes up.
I agree. No, that's a very good point. And, you know, you want to pick your area. Even if you work the Central Phoenix area, go to Deer Valley for your open house. You know, there the homes are more consistent as far as, you know, you'll have a couple, you know, they're more subdivisions that everything's kind of similar. And those I find are a little bit better because what his concern was is, you know, he's in an area that's a mixed area where you have homes, you know, a block away that might be like a crack house, honestly. And then you'll have a house here that's $700,000, right? Because they've fixed up the neighborhoods and they're all kind of gentrifying and pushing the poor people out, which is kind of sad when you think about it. But that's why I think it's better to be in an area that's more consistent, you know? And that's why I'm glad you brought that up. One where it's more of just a regular subdivision where the homes are, you know, 5 different models and all that kind of stuff. It's just easier.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And that's what you want. Any other questions?
I have one quick one.
Yes.
My husband and I flip houses.
Yes.
So I got my license so I could sell our
Right.
flips.
How long have you been doing it?
Flipping houses?
Yeah.
A couple years.
Okay.
When people come in open house, I didn't know I should say right away, this is my flip.
Yeah.
But I learned the hard way. Someone went in and asked me if it was a flip, and I said yes. And he goes, oh, you can tell they cut corners. And I said, well, this is my flip. Do you mind showing me? Because I don't want to have, you know.
Right.
So he showed me in the shower where the tile should
Oh,
look
right,
different.
right, yeah.
So do I just greet people like that? Hi, this is my home?
Yeah, you know, I would, yes, you would. You should probably disclose that. It's probably a good idea. And rather than saying that I flip homes, I would say, you know, I'm going in and revitalizing neighborhoods. That's what I would say.
Okay.
Because that way, there's such a negative connotation about flippers, you know, like you're going in there like a vulture.
Yeah.
Right?
Wow.
Right. What you want to do is tell people that you're adding value to the neighborhood. That's what I'm doing. I'm revitalizing and adding value to the neighborhood. That's what I like to do. And a matter of fact, this is my house, and we put all of our love and feeling into this place, and it's God, you know, I almost feel bad about selling it after I've done this. You know what I mean? And you probably do. You know, so that's good. All right, have I helped everybody a little bit?
Yes.
You guys been able to take something away? Yes, sir. One more question. Everybody's hungry. Go ahead.
One of the big things is that, I don't know if you have classes on this, but you get the prospects who get the leads. But you can have all those, but it's the follow-up and keep in touch with people and try to be, it's changed a lot.
Yes.
When I used to, I could always do an open house, pick up a client. Now I can get people, I call them prospects, really good, and they give you all the information you want.
And then vanish?
They vanish, they whatever, and you can have the best report in the world, but before they'd be gold and they know what they wanted. Now these people are well, you know, we're looking in 12 months from now, 6 months from now, or this and that, they give you all this stuff, and they go, so there's a whole thing, you do all the open houses, you get tons of people.
Right.
That doesn't mean a Megan thing.
Right.
Matter of fact, I'm a little different where I don't need 100 people to my open house.
Right.
Good
Just one good one.
One good one, but what I'm saying is that when you get all these people, and we didn't cover this here, is when you get overwhelmed with people coming in an open house, usually the one you're spending time with, and you address it, if you address it ahead of time, is not the buyer, it's the one that sneaks out the back.
Right.
So
That's right.
That's a very interesting thing, to be able to keep this. So I think part of the thing is that I don't know how, if I had 40 people to an open house, I wouldn't know which way to turn.
Yeah.
That's just not my style.
No, that's okay. No, you know.
There's a system to it. I'm sure you've got one.
Well, one of the things that I do, and I'll show you guys really quick, okay, because I know you guys want to get out of here. But this will just take, let me just see if this will sign on really quick. One of the things that I give the people when they come into my open house is I'll have a card that's like the size of a postcard, and it will have, let me just go to my website here. It has a link to my website which has a search on it that I direct everybody to, because I don't want people going on to Zillow. Okay, give me the hook.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm almost done here. One quick question.
Man, it's coming through the cracks of the floor.
All right, she's giving me the hook. I'm just going to show them this really quick. So if you have this card and you give this to them, it'll keep them from talking to other agents, going on Zillow, going on Realtor.com. And what you're going to tell the people, this is what my website looks like. I got a buyer and a seller side. So they go to the buyer side, and this is called Showcase IDX. It costs $90 a month, I think it is. Has anybody ever heard of that? Showcase IDX? Okay. So here it is. Search the MLS, right? And they click on here. And what it does is you tell the people, when you have a buyer that comes in, you say, hey, guess what? You know, rather than go on to Realtor.com and Zillow and all this, those people sell your information to all these realtors out there. You're going to sign on there, and you're going to be trolled by thousands, literally, of real estate agents, lenders, and whoever else is on there and that they sell your information to. I'm not selling your information. So you can go on to my search here, and you can search, and you can save stuff, and you can do this, you can do that. And by the way, mine is much more accurate than Zillow or Realtor.com, because mine doesn't show homes active when they got a contract on them. Okay? This actually is better than Zillow to Realtor.com. It's $90, you guys. You can write it off. You can put it on your website, and then when these people come into your open house, direct them to that. You'd be surprised. I got 15 people from 2 weeks ago that are actively searching on my website. And then this way, they're not getting exposed to all these other realtors out there and all these other people and everything else. So that might help.
I do portal sites.
Sorry?
I do portal sites, offer them custom sites and everything.
Right.
They're very good, but now I think people are very leery about a lot of stuff.
They are.
Too much information at once.
Right, and that's why you got to scare them and say, oh yeah, man, if you go on to Zillow, because they all do it, and Realtor.com, your stuff's going to get sold to thousands of people. So mine, it doesn't. In fact, you don't even have to sign into mine if you don't want to. You can just go and search on mine. You don't even have to sign in.
Can you still track them when they sign in?
Oh yeah. Of course I do.
What's it called again? What's it called?
It's called Showcase IDX. Showcase IDX. Send me an email if you want. And just, you guys want my information? It's Neil@listmycasa.com.